David Mann, arrested, the news that has sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry. But what if I told you that this is only the beginning of a story darker than anyone could have imagined? Behind the flashing lights of fame, behind the carefully staged smiles on red carpets, lies a tangled web of betrayal, secrets, and shocking revelations. And at the center of it all stand three names you never thought you'd hear together in the same scandal: David Mann, Tyler Perry, and Kirk Franklin. The question burning on everyone's lips: why now? Why would Tyler Perry, man known for protecting his friends and building a family out of Hollywood misfits, suddenly come forward with claims that could shatter reputations forever? And what really happened the night Kirk Franklin was allegedly attacked? The pieces don't quite add up, and that's exactly why this story is catching fire everywhere. Because when careers, friendships, and legacies are on the line, nothing is ever what it seems. Tonight we pull back the curtain and dive deep into the scandal, shaking the gospel and film world to its very core. When the first whispers began to spread about David Mann's arrest, the public refused to believe it. David Mann, the beloved actor, comedian, and gospel performer who had built his reputation on wholesome family values and uplifting entertainment, it didn't make sense. Fans were shocked, confused, and in disbelief. Yet the rumors didn't fade. They grew louder, darker, and more sinister with every passing hour. For years, David Mann had been seen as untouchable. His long partnership with Tyler Perry had made him a household name, appearing in stage plays, films, and television shows that brought laughter and faith to millions. He wasn't the kind of man you expected to see in handcuffs. But fame has a way of hiding shadows behind the spotlight. And this time, the shadows refused to stay hidden. The arrest wasn't just about Mann, it was about the ripple effect and how this shocking turn of events drew two other massive names into the storm: Tyler Perry and Kirk Franklin. Whispers of betrayal and an alleged attack on gospel legend. Kirk Franklin quickly turned a strange incident into a wildfire of speculation. How could these three icons, once symbols of inspiration for their communities, suddenly be wrapped up in a scandal dripping with secrecy? The public's curiosity turned into obsession when Tyler Perry, usually private and guarded, broke his silence. His words were careful but heavy, suggesting that what the world saw on the surface was only a fraction of the truth. Perry hinted that there were things the public wasn't ready to hear, and that Franklin's ordeal was far from the random incident it appeared to be. But why would Perry speak out now? Insiders claimed that pressure had been building for months. The supposed attack on Franklin wasn't just a headline, it was the spark that set off years of tension, hidden grudges, and behind-the-scenes betrayal. Friends of Franklin revealed that he had been uneasy long before the alleged attack took place. Strange phone calls, veiled threats, and unexpected confrontations painted a picture of a man being pushed to the edge. Some even whispered that Franklin had confided in Perry privately, warning him that someone close might be plotting against him. Could that someone have been David Mann? The idea was unthinkable. Mann and Franklin had appeared together, smiled together, and even prayed together in public. Yet, behind the glossy photographs and award shows, cracks had begun to show. Franklin, famous for his bold outspokenness, had reportedly clashed with Mann in private over creative differences and personal slights. The two men may have played friends in public, but the undercurrent of tension was no longer deniable. Tyler Perry, caught in the middle of it all, allegedly tried to play the peacemaker. But when the alleged attack happened, when Franklin was left shaken and bruised, Perry could no longer remain silent. And that's when he dropped his bombshell: the claim that David Mann's arrest was connected, directly or indirectly, to the dark truth about what happened to Kirk Franklin. The media went into overdrive. Talk shows dissected every word Perry had spoken. Social media exploded with hashtags and theories. Was David Mann guilty? Or had he been framed? Was Perry exposing the truth? Or fueling a bigger conspiracy? And most chilling of all, what exactly had happened to Kirk Franklin that night? One tabloid described it as a betrayal of biblical proportions. Another headline screamed, "From gospel to gossip, faith leaders at war." Fans demanded answers. But the silence from Mann's camp only added to the mystery. In the middle of this storm, Franklin himself appeared vulnerable. Witnesses claimed he seemed withdrawn, troubled, and reluctant to speak. When he did address the public, his words were vague, hinting at pain, confusion, and shock, but never giving clear details. His silence only deepened the intrigue. This was no longer just about one man's arrest. It had become a saga of friendship torn apart, reputations on the line, and a community struggling to reconcile the image of its heroes with the scandal playing out before their eyes. And as more details trickled in, one thing became chillingly clear: this story was far from over. As the scandal deepened, the public's perception of David Mann began to fracture. Overnight, the man who had once been celebrated as a pillar of faith-driven entertainment was being painted as a shadowy figure hiding secrets. Was he truly the smiling, charismatic family man audiences adored? Or was there a darker side that no one dared to confront until now? Entertainment journalists dug into his past, pulling out every disagreement, every rumor, every whisper of tension that had ever followed him. What they found wasn't conclusive, but it was enough to fuel speculation. Reports surfaced of heated backstage arguments with fellow performers. Old interviews were reanalyzed, with critics pointing to moments when Mann's smile seemed strained, his tone defensive. Fans wondered, had the signs been there all along, hidden in plain sight? Meanwhile, Tyler Perry's involvement only made the scandal bigger. Perry wasn't just another name, he was a cultural icon, someone whose influence reached millions. His decision to speak out was viewed by some as an act of courage, but by others as betrayal. Insiders whispered that Perry and Mann had been drifting apart long before the arrest. Their once unshakable partnership had reportedly been tested by creative differences, clashing egos, and the pressures of fame. Perry's revelation, then, wasn't just about protecting Kirk Franklin, it was also about drawing a line in the sand. And then there was Franklin himself. His silence screamed louder than words. Fans described him as distant, his usually fiery energy subdued. When he did appear, his statements were cryptic. Not everything is as it seems. Sometimes the ones closest to you are the ones who can hurt you the most. These words sent shockwaves through his fan base. Was Franklin indirectly pointing at Mann? Or was he referencing an even bigger betrayal yet to come? Social media exploded with theories. Some insisted that Mann was innocent, a scapegoat in a larger conspiracy to discredit gospel entertainers. Others were convinced he was guilty, painting him as a wolf in sheep's clothing who had finally been exposed. Memes, hashtags, and endless reaction videos dominated TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But the most chilling development came when anonymous insiders claimed that a secret meeting had taken place weeks before the alleged attack. According to these sources, Mann, Perry, and Franklin were all present, and the meeting had ended in shouting, accusations, and a dramatic walkout. No one knew exactly what was said behind closed doors, but the timing of that meeting raised eyebrows. Could it have been the spark that led to the eruption of chaos? As these revelations piled up, the lines between fact and fiction blurred. Tabloids spun wild theories that Franklin had evidence against Mann, that Perry had been protecting Franklin for months, that rival industry players were using the scandal to bring down three giants at once. Some stories claimed that a leaked video existed, showing the truth of what really happened, but, of course, no such video had surfaced publicly still. The mere mention of it was enough to keep the public hooked. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. What did Tyler Perry mean when he spoke of the dark truth? Was Mann really behind the attack on Franklin? Or was he simply caught in a storm bigger than himself? The deeper the scandal went, the harder it became to separate reality from rumor. Yet one thing was undeniable. This story had cracked open the carefully crafted image of three beloved figures. What had once seemed like unshakable friendships and inspirational legacies now looked like fragile illusions ready to collapse under the weight of secrets. And the worst part, insiders promised that the most shocking revelations were still to come, while the headlines screamed about David Mann's arrest and Tyler Perry's revelations. Behind closed doors, the human cost of this scandal was beginning to show. Fame may glitter under the lights, but in the shadows, the cracks were breaking wide open. David Mann's supporters insisted he was a victim of circumstance, a man whose reputation was being sacrificed in a war of egos. Yet even those closest to him admitted he seemed shaken, vulnerable, and unsure of who to trust. Friends described late-night phone calls filled with desperation. He kept asking, "Why is this happening to me? Why would Tyler do this?" One insider claimed, he sounded broken, like the ground had been ripped out from beneath his feet. At the same time, Kirk Franklin's silence was interpreted as a cry for help. Though he avoided direct accusations, his words painted a picture of emotional devastation. In one private conversation leaked by a so-called insider, Franklin reportedly confided, "It wasn't just an attack on me, it was an attack on everything I've built. My family, my music, my faith. I don't even know who I can trust anymore." The public latched onto these whispers, fueling theories that the incident was not a random act of violence but a betrayal that cut deep into Franklin's inner circle. Fans wondered aloud, had someone he once called a brother truly turned against him? Meanwhile, Tyler Perry's decision to step forward cast him in the role of reluctant truth-teller. Known for his fierce loyalty, Perry rarely allowed personal drama to spill into the public eye. Yet here he was, standing at the center of one of the most shocking controversies in gospel and entertainment history. Some applauded his bravery, while others accused him of betrayal. Was he protecting Franklin, or was he settling old scores with Mann? Perry himself seemed torn. His statement was calculated but heavy with emotion. The truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how hard people try to bury it. Sometimes silence is complicity. I refuse to stay silent anymore. Those words sent chills down the spines of fans. If Perry was breaking his silence, it meant something serious. Something bigger than the tabloids were even suggesting. But here's where the story twisted even further. Conflicting accounts began to emerge. Some sources swore that Mann and Franklin had argued viciously over money and creative rights in the weeks leading up to the incident. Others claimed it had nothing to do with business and everything to do with personal betrayal secrets. Secrets so scandalous that insiders wouldn't even dare say them aloud on record. For Franklin, the emotional toll was visible. He appeared at one public event, his voice shaky, his eyes red. When reporters shouted questions about Mann, he lowered his head and whispered, "Not now." That single phrase was enough to spark another storm online. Not now. Did that mean later he would speak? Or was he hiding something deeper? Meanwhile, David Mann's legal troubles grew worse. Though his team denied the accusations, documents hinted at a tangled mess of investigations and allegations. Nothing was proven, but the headlines didn't care. Public opinion was already turning against him. And yet, for every story that painted Mann as guilty, there was another portraying him as a victim of betrayal. Fans were torn. Some demanded justice, others cried setup, and still others begged for the truth. The emotional chaos gripped everyone involved. A once tight-knit circle of entertainers was now shattered into suspicion, silence, and fear. And for the millions watching, one thought lingered louder than all the rest. If this is just the beginning, what other secrets are waiting to come out? And now, we're left standing at the edge of a storm that refuses to calm down. David Mann's arrest. Tyler Perry's shocking revelation. Kirk Franklin's silence that speaks louder than words. The pieces are on the table, but the picture is still incomplete. The big question remains, who is telling the truth? Is David Mann the villain in this story? Or the victim of a setup so elaborate it could shake the entire gospel and entertainment world? Is Tyler Perry bravely pulling back the curtain on lies that have been hidden for years? Or does he have motives of his own? And most haunting of all, what really happened to Kirk Franklin the night of the alleged attack? This is more than gossip. This is a web of secrets, betrayals, and unanswered questions that may redefine how we see our favorite stars. The story isn't over. In fact, it feels like it's only just beginning. And you are part of uncovering the truth, so now it's your turn. Do you believe David Mann is guilty, or is he being used as a scapegoat? Was Tyler Perry protecting Kirk Franklin, or protecting himself? And do you think Kirk Franklin will ever reveal the full story? Or will it remain hidden in the shadows? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your theories. Smash that like button if you think the truth deserves to be exposed. And don't forget to share this video with friends who need to see the chaos for themselves. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button because the next chapter of this scandal is already brewing. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next.